Hey everybody, welcome back to another Judgment commentary of Zoku Owarimonogatari, but today we're going to be checking out episode 3. But last time in episode 2, Araragi's theory about how the mirror world works was called into question after he ran into some familiar faces such as Hanekawa and Tsuruga because, you see, Hanekawa and Tsuruga had both taken on the forms of the apparitions that had afflicted them in their past. Not the kind of thing you'd expect if they were just reversed. And what caused even more of a problem for his theory was him running into Sodachi. Yes, Sodachi is here, haven't seen her in a little while, but she definitely was not a reverse of his world's Sodachi because it would appear as though this is just Sodachi in some weird bizarro timeline where she was taken in by Araragi's parents, rather than being forced to stay with her abusive family, so she's a lot more happy and carefree than when we saw her. Again, not Sodachi in reverse, not by any stretch. But Araragi got his explanation when he ran into the mirror world Nadeko, who, well, of course, is the snake god still in this world. And not only that, she seems very insightful and clever, and she was able to tell Araragi exactly what was going on. In the mirror world, people aren't inverted like text, they're more turned inside out, so to speak. It explains the inconsistencies in which characters were reversed because you had, like, Tsukihi who wasn't changed at all, and it's because Tsukihi is the same both inside and out, so even if you were to turn her inside out, nothing would be different. But then you had Karen who was just shorter, so I guess on the inside she's just short. And we're already well aware of the fact that with Hanekawa, the cat represents, like her inner feelings. It's kind of like another side of her. Therefore, turn her inside out, she's the cat now. So yeah, definitely makes things a bit more interesting than them just being inconsistently reversed around in weird ways. Instead, we're just seeing how they are like on the inside. Now, how that works with Sodachi, I don't know. Seems like there's a weird metaphysical angle to that, but even still, it was genuinely nice to get to see Sodachi being happy and not horrifically traumatized, and it's also kind of sad to think that that could have been her reality had Araragi's parents actually managed to take her in. Which they might have done had she not run away and gone back home. Because after she did that, there wasn't much they could really do. So yeah, definitely an interesting episode that gave us a lot of cool perspective into the mirror world that I didn't frankly expect, but we still don't know what the heck Araragi is going to do about it, so maybe we'll see what he can do right now. Let's go. So, our important development for the day is Shinobu in this mirror world is human, which honestly, that actually makes so much more sense because remember what they said, a vampire can't exist in the mirror world. But she's not a vampire, she's human. So it's not a matter of this world not making sense, it's just that it makes sense in a very non-conventional way. That is very clever. Just finding a way to have her in this world while still following the no mirrors rule. It's just that her reflection is human. Should have thought of that myself, honestly. And I would like to bring up that Araragi brought up my theory about Ogi potentially being his reflected self from the mirror world. They didn't delve too deep into that. They kind of just danced around it and moved on, but I've got a terrible feeling that because they had him bring it up like that, it might not be true. They've done that already a few times. Even in this very arc, he was like, oh, maybe everything's just reversed because mirror world, and that turned out to not be correct. Possibly. Even Araragi thought to entertain that notion, but I'm hesitant to believe it now that he's brought it up like that. It's still possible. They never continued to even talking about what would have happened to his mirror self if they're in this world, if they're out on the other side. The only thing they topped that conversation off with was him bringing up Ogi. But heck, I thought of it myself long before they brought it up, so I'm still gonna hold on to it. For now. An interesting talking point that Sadachi brought up was the very nature of mirrors themselves, how they don't perfectly reflect things, which is true because mirrors, there's imperfections to them. They don't fully reflect, and I mean, I'm not sure if a completely reflective surface is possible. It might be, I don't know, I'm no mirror scientist. But it is true that the majority of mirrors, at least, aren't perfectly reflective. There are, imperfections there just in the mirror itself. The fact that if you just leave it over time, it'll get smudgy. And what the mirror shows is almost never going to be fully accurate. And I'm sure that has something to do with this, of course, that even these reflections of them aren't probably going to be one-to-one with how they really are on the inside. It's only an approximation. A fairly close approximation if we're going to use the 80% efficiency number that she used. But it seems more so that she was just talking about how, in general, just in a non-mirrored world, you never truly get to see yourself as you actually are. It'll always be blurred. And even then, even when it's not blurred, you're seeing it flipped anyway. It's a troubling thought that you can't ever see your exact self as what you are, And really, by that logic, we can't really see anything exactly as it is, because the only reason we can see anything at all is because it's reflecting off of stuff, and not all of what you're seeing is being 100% reflected, it's also being absorbed, so we can't see anything as what it really is. I mean, when you really blow it up, and that just makes it even worse. It's a nice companion piece to the fact that everything we see is happening very, very slightly in the past because of the brief amount of time it takes for your brain to process images. Both thoughts that kinda hurt your brain to think about. But other than all that, I guess there's not much else that I really need to say. This is clearly the point in the movie where things kinda slow down a bit and they just exposit to each other a lot, which isn't bad. You need moments like that, but as far as an episode goes, there's not much for me to discuss at the moment anyway. Maybe I'll let these thoughts distill for a bit, but the only other thing I can point out is that they used a lot of nice video game imagery, invoking that NES era, so that's always nice. Makes me happy. And, of course, Ononoki tearing down her personality and going to the non-mirrored variation is an interesting move that they played, and it does make a lot of sense that she would be one of the only ones who's even able to make that happen. And she did see that Araragi kind of freaked out when he saw her, so she was trying to figure out what went wrong, and then came upon the solution of just reprogramming herself. Seems fair. But anyway, I never lowered the green screen this entire time that I was talking, so yeah. But besides that, I guess that's it for now, guys. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed. Subscribe to be updated on more. That would be great. Next time, we got episode 4. That's not the last one, not the second to last one. Still got 3 episodes to go, and things have gotten interesting. We've got a human Shinobu on our hands. We'll see what that entails next time, as well as Araragi's reaction to it. Ononoki seemed to be interested in what his reaction would be, so I can't wait to have my reaction to his reaction. Should be fun. But like I said, that's it. So till we meet again, I will see you guys later.